Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
So, all right, guys, welcome back to Breaking Barriers. I'm super excited. I have the father-son dynamic duo here today. John Rondi's, boom, double, let's do it. It's actually the three Johns.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is fucking awesome.
nice.
Crazy.
Hey, are you a junior?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Different middle name?
Yeah.
Same with me and my dad.
I don't know why he did that.
Same thing. Why did you do that? Not that there's anything wrong with it. Just
We were going to name him Salvatore.
Oh.
After my wife's grandfather, and then my wife kind of led the way on it, I think. If I remember correctly, that was just, we were going to go Salvatore John, and then we said, let's go John Salvatore.
Okay. And what's your middle name?
Frederick.
Frederick. Oh, see, my dad did the same thing.
Yeah.
My dad actually just didn't like his middle name. So I have my first son on the way right now.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm extremely excited about that.
That's awesome.
And I said to my wife, you bet your ass I'm doing a junior.
I think I would too.
Yeah. So I'm excited. But all right,
cool.
so guys, we had a ton of people that, number one, requested you guys to come on. Obviously, you guys have been doing some really big things on TikTok, got to YouTube up to 1 mil, which is wild. I was telling him, we were managing the Situations YouTube and helped him grow. And at some point, it's when we first started, I think he had half a mil before he hit his first mil. And it's so cool to see, a father-son, local dynamic duo, from Jersey, hit these numbers and get to that point. And one of the things that most people are asking is how did they do it, right? So what would you guys say there? Let's start there. How did you get to this point? How did it start? What was the whole point of starting Johnny Drinks?
Yeah, well, the first step is you got to get a whiteboard.
Yeah, go get the whiteboard.
Am I right? First step.
Bring out the corny jokes early.
Get a whiteboard and just start writing on it.
So we started it just having fun. He was making a Manhattan cocktail right before quarantine, so February 2020.
Do you want to try this?
Oh, no, you go first.
Okay.
Pour some in there. I'll try it.
And I was like, all right, it looks kind of cool. The aesthetic is there. Filmed them, put some Frank Sinatra in the background, and was like, all right, let me throw it on TikTok.
Right.
I had TikTok on my phone for a week at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister Diana, who's back there over there, she was like, you should try it out. So I checked my phone again at dinner. This thing's blowing up on us. We're going viral, or what I thought was viral at the time. And then quarantine hit. We had nothing else to do, so we were like, screw it. Let's just keep making cocktails. We're all cooped up in the house. And so
Right.
we caught fire during a time where people had nothing else to do.
You're sitting home, bored as hell.
Wanted to watch us make cocktails. But it was pretty quick that we realized it wasn't just about the cocktail making. It was more about the father and son dynamic that was
Totally
cool and a little bit different.
Right.
So we started to transition into the dad advice stuff. How to tie a tie, shine a shoe.
Right.
That really picked up and I guess leveled up our brand a bit more. And we were talking about it before. Now we can diversify into becoming more than just the cocktail makers.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, he's not a professional. I'm not a professional. He does a really great job at what he does. Mm-hmm. But if we pigeonhole ourselves into a spot that we're not experts in,
right,
that may go south pretty quickly. So
totally.
Thank God we're here. Where we're at today. And
yeah.
Just having fun with it, man. Yeah.
So now here's the thing. So most parents, right? For the most part, I'm not gonna say all of them, right? But most parents are like, I don't want you to put me on your social media, or I don't want to be on your face space, whatever. They don't know what the hell it's called.
Yeah.
When he was like, all right, let me try this. I'm gonna record you doing this. Were you first open to it? Did you have any apprehension? Were you just like, all right, cool, just film it? Okay.
I mean, listen, you're gonna find out. You do what you can with your children's best interest in mind.
Right.
And one of the things that I've learned. I'm a parent 4 times over, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of mistakes. There's
Yep.
a lot of learning on the fly.
Right.
Hopefully you have a partner that you can exchange information with, meaning your wife
Yep.
or significant other, that you just kind of talk about how you're going to raise your family. And the one thing I will say that is really very important for any parent that wants to connect with their child is find something that they like.
Right.
And when you find something that they like, whether you like it or not, try to pretend you like it.
Right.
And maybe you find something that you like about it. I mean, in this case, the videoing thing was easy for me. That's not the best example to give because, to answer your question, I was making a drink, he's videoing me. That's nothing foreign.
Right.
And he's like, do it again. I'm like, well, what did we do?
Right.
You videoed me making a drink, so
right.
I'm like, all right, I'll do it again.
Right.
And as we get deeper and further into it, and now the demand becomes greater, and he has me doing things, sometimes I'm not comfortable with it.
Right.
And I tell him, we have a healthy exchange. Mm-hmm. Some say argument, some say negotiation.
You can't use that word.
Some say, yeah. No
A words.
discussion, some discussion.
I
But
like
you know,
that.
there are certain things. There's a certain line that I draw that I'm not
Right.
going to. I'm not going to go there.
Right.
I don't need to.
Right.
And so it's with respect that hopefully, you know your limits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, first of all, I love that, and I think that's so powerful, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to ask you for some advice as we go on throughout
Sure.
this podcast.
That's
you
cool.
know, I think it's really cool to see that though, and so have you? Because the one thing that's really cool though is that you both are very natural on camera. I don't know if that's like just a normal thing or whatever, but like even when you both like if it's just you on the screen or if it's you on the screen, like you seem very comfortable. Like for work. Like, have you been on camera before for work type stuff? Like, or is it just kind of like?
I'm just. I mean, I'll answer it first.
Yeah.
I am comfortable. I think first and foremost, I'm comfortable with who I am.
Right.
Right. Like me, dislike me. I kind of care, but at the end of the day, I'm all right with it.
Yep.
You know, I realize that there's people that are not going to care for something I say.
Right.
The way I say it.
Right.
My look.
Right.
I'm bald. Maybe you don't like bold guys. Okay, fine. I'm not going to change that.
Right.
Nor am I going to worry about it and try to, persuade you otherwise. Being comfortable starts with yourself, right?
Right.
And truly, how you look yourself in the mirror.
Right.
You know, that's kind of drives the bus for me. But,
I want to go a little bit deeper there because I think a lot of
Yeah.
people can resonate with not being there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feeling comfortable with themselves. So I think that's a really, and I'm going to ask you after, but how is there any answer that you can give us with like how you got to that point? Like, did you have a point where you were like not? I'm assuming so,
Sure.
right? Like,
Well, growing up is uncomfortable. Growing up is hard.
Yeah.
I don't care where you are generationally. It's hard for everybody.
Right.
You know, but my generation, when we grew up, and a bully came in your space, you knew who it was.
right.
And if there were 2 or 3 others behind him or her, you knew who they were.
Right.
Today, disadvantages. It's a mountain of who knows haters and people, and I
Right.
feel really bad for the generation now that's coming up with social media in some part, but
Right.
that phone, that's unfair. That's you're outnumbered. You're out. You can squash somebody's personality really quickly,
Right.
or confidence really quickly. So again, difference when I grew up, we kind of dealt with it head on.
Yeah.
And you learn quickly what I think in my mind, in the case of like the kids that I used to hang around with and my friends even today,
Right.
you find your strengths.
Right.
You align yourself with friends that have similar likes
Right.
and strengths.
Right.
And sports and athletics has always been an outlet for me, and it's helped. What you find out in a locker room or on the playing field,
Right.
things like that, you have to embrace. And again, my case specifically, I knew there was 1 or 2 things I was good at,
Right.
and I continually wanted to get better at those things, which were sports.
Right.
Right. And that helped build the confidence and everything else around it. So if it's not sports, it might be you're a good artist. If you're
Right.
not a good artist, you might be a decent bathroom singer. You might be whatever it is.
Right.
Find it, have fun with it, exploit it, and remind yourself that you're valuable and you're worthy enough for your own sake, and other people will learn to find that same value.
Fucking boom.
Oh,
Mic drop.
You could do
Mic drop.
So
I love that.
Wow.
Thank you for that. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that insight. I think that's really, really good. I think a lot of people have self-doubt and just limiting beliefs about what they can do. Confidence is always a big issue for most people.
Sure.
So I really appreciate you bringing that up.
You're welcome,
He's throwing
John.
fire. I'm not even asking it. So I love this. So how about you? So you're so comfortable on camera, right? And I want to ask you guys this because when I look at even in my day job, I'll call it, right, like when I'm running my agency, when I'm working with business owners, a lot of times like I can get in front of a Fortune 500 CEO. We put him on camera and he freezes, right?
Sure.
Like, so it's like, how do you guys, like, is it just because you guys have family dynamic? It's like, oh, my dad's filming me or I'm filming or with my dad. Like, how did you start getting comfortable for you?
Well, honestly, I think it's worse when it's your parents. It's
harder.
Yeah, I think it is. And so, the one thing I will say, and he can attest to it too, it's a repetition thing. Like the first time he was on camera or I was on camera, we may be comfortable humans and we're confident in ourselves, but it's nerve-wracking. Like talking into a camera, because now it's live, but you get inside your own head, you're thinking what you're about to say, and you freeze up, and that's not an easy situation to be in.
No.
But I guess it comes from like, we've been at this for a while. Obviously he's had to make speeches in front of people, and I had a startup in college, so my first pitch was when I was 20 years old. It was like a 17-minute pitch, so I had to do the entire process, answer questions. And if I look back at that now, I thought I did a decent job. I can't even watch it right now because of how bad that was. But I won, and so I guess I did something right.
Right.
And that gave me the confidence to keep going. And it's just a learning process. Like being on camera, I don't care who you are, 99% of people suck on camera for the first time.
Totally.
I will also say, so number one, it gets easier. It always will. Number two, like we're not special, right? Like we know how to edit videos down, so I got really good at making sure that if he does stutter or says way too many times, we'll chop that down so it looks a little more flowy.
Right.
And the reason I'm saying that is like I don't want anybody feeling like they can't go and do that.
Right.
Because I know how I used to feel.
Or like you both are perfect.
Right. And that's not the case. Like I watched YouTubers and I was like, man, they have just something special about them, and most of them do. Don't get me wrong. But everything's attainable. Like we are the true testaments to we can do it. People that have zero bartending experience, no videographer experience, and not an editor at all, can go and do this thing.
Yeah.
It's just about, and you talked about it before, is like we do have the self-confidence, and the self-doubt thing never lingers in our heads too long. Like you may have like little blurbs of things saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't try this anymore.
Right.
But it fades away pretty quickly because for us, like it's inevitable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wake up every day and there's no thought or no doubt in my mind that we are not going to keep doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point, and so he opened with saying, we're not professionals, right? I'm not a professional bartender. I'm not trying to be a mixologist.
Right.
I will tip my hat to the guys and girls out there that know that craft and study it and are chemists with liquor. More power to you.
Hats off to them.
More power to you, and keep doing it, because as they create and they find some incredible balances of liquor, I see it like you would see it, like anyone would see it, and we'll try to copy it, and we'll look up the recipe, the ingredients, and we'll duplicate it. That's all we're doing.
Right.
But the authenticity of who we are, and that being comfortable and knowing that we're not pretending. We're not lip syncing a song. We're not, right? We're not Milli Vanilli, for those of you who know who Milli Vanilli are, right? Grammy winners who lip sync their song.
Right.
So we're father and son. I'm a home tender. He's an entrepreneur, a guy who put a lot of time to get to this point, which didn't happen by accident.
Yep.
It came to us, TikTok and social media came to us, but it wasn't by accident, because he was already in sort of this space where he was going to the community, right? Creating the app. And like he said, he did this pitch and he won at college.
Right.
And I was there for that pitch. And that was probably one of the best moments, just seeing that all come together for him. And it springboarded him to, find a lane to go down. And so the rest now, I think that experience helps us today.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so for everybody out there who's watching, I think that's the biggest thing, is that like most people, when I'm trying to push on even my clients to get in front of the camera, right? Because when, as a business owner, if you don't do that, you're really holding yourself back. We live in a purpose-driven, world now. People want to know the entrepreneur. Sure. What's your mission, passion, purpose, right? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? And a lot of times they don't want to do that, but like at the end of the day, nobody's expecting even you two to be professional actors, right? Like, or, the best at what you're doing. I think that's the best part. You guys are leading with integrity in the component of, hey, we're just like trying to make cocktails. Like nobody said like you guys are, but I think from the outside, people are like, oh wow, these guys are like bartenders, right? Like, but obviously, father, son, dynamic duo, you're not. But it's cool though. I think, but because you guys have been authentic from the rip about that and transparent, that people are like, oh, this is so cool. I'm just following their journey, and I get it. And I think that's why
the best part.
There's a lot of times where people say you fake it, you got to fake it till you make it in certain things. And I do believe that I had to do that at some point for starting my business. But what I love though is that the other side of that is when you're authentic from the beginning, right? Like it just manages the expectation of the follower.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, they're not pros, but that's okay.
Yep.
And I love that about you guys. So I think
you.
that's so cool. But piggybacking further, right? So speaking about speeches, your daughter just got married recently.
Yeah.
You had a speech you had to say, right? Do you think that this prepped you for it a little bit, being on camera all the time, talking all the time? Or are you just ready to go regardless?
Again, these are things. Just the other night, my high school friends were over here, and he's heard this before.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't mind them saying it, but where I am today and who I was in high school are very similar.
Yeah.
Like I was never afraid to be the person that talked in front of the team.
Right.
I was team captain.
Right.
All right. Now that doesn't mean because you're a captain of your sport that you're always comfortable there.
Right.
But I became comfortable as that leader from high school. And I was captain in football, captain in baseball in high school. I go to college, I'm captain there.
Right.
So this is part of it. It's how, that was my journey.
Yeah.
I videoed in high school.
Oh, no shit.
Super VHS. I mean, I borrowed my own. I mean, I videoed in college.
Right.
When we went on our spring trips, I had this big video camera.
Right.
My wife, our firstborn daughter, I had a Super 8mm, a handheld, and I videoed on the way to the hospital.
Wow.
And I did that not for social media. I did it for my family,
for
my wife to enjoy and to document. So I have those.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was all not knowing it, I guess, prepares me for where I am. I have to make a speech and talk to a group of people. In this case, like I said, at the wedding. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with knowing I'm just going to embrace the moment and share my thoughts, and you hope it comes out the right way, and you hope that people understand it.
You're not scared to make a mistake.
No, I made tons of mistakes in that speech.
Totally.
By the way. Tons.
I
said things I was like, why the hell did I even say that? I watched it over. I'm like, that was so stupid. Just move on. You were going in a good place, and then you went off on a tangent, and that happens too.
Yeah. Did you have a couple cocktails prior?
No, actually, I didn't.
So you went into a stone cold sober?
Oh, I didn't drink a lot that night at all until the very end when we had cigars outside and we were smoking. Then
that's where you got it.
Yeah, because listen, I threw a party. I was a host. Right. And the last thing you want, I don't care if it's your house and you're hosting people, you need to be, I guess, responsible. Mm-hmm. Right? If I'm serving alcohol to people at my house, I'd like to think I can kind of see the guy or girl that's a little bit over the top, right?
Right.
Because they're in my house. And likewise, at the party, I don't want to be the guy trash bombed out. No, I want to go to a wedding and I want to not care and grab from the cocktail hour all the way through. But in that case, there's a certain place and time, and that was it for me.
That's good, and I like that. I think a key takeaway there is not to be scared to mess up, especially when you're speaking and stuff. I think what you said before is good, and I think as I was early on in adapting my agency, and I had to get up in front of people and start to speak, and before I did my first event where we had like over 500 people there for my event, like I always said to myself in the back of my head that like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me, right? Like I would always put that out there. And everyone started to say like, oh, like that was I was known for that in my team and in my friends and family. Like, oh, like John really just doesn't care. Like they admired it, but I really did.
Yeah, but I
really did.
So anyone who says they don't care, John does care.
It's just a bravado.
It is a bravado.
Yeah.
And not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Because I want to. That's something that's really very profound, and a lot of young people think that, oh, I don't care. I don't care. He says I'm a jerk. I don't care. No, it's okay to say you care.
Right.
Words do hurt.
They do, yeah.
It's okay to say that bothered me, but say it again. You're stupid. Say it again. Stupid. You say it 10 times, like, well, what is this? Just a word now.
Yeah.
I know I'm not stupid.
Right.
I know I'm not ugly.
Right.
I know I bring value. I know, hopefully, that barrage of saying you don't care. No, you should care, and you want to do well when you make your presentation.
Right.
You want to knock it out of the park, so you care. But to your point, it's a statement of more of the bravado and the comfort of saying, okay, I'm going out.
Right.
I'm nervous, but I'm bringing the nerves, put it on my back and let's go. And let's see what, whatever comes our way comes our way.
Right. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I respected what you said though, because I remember early on in my journey, I'm 31, but I started my business when I was 17. So I've been doing it for a little while, and I grew up doing it. And I remember that bravado, always thinking like I had to like let people around me know that like I didn't give a shit about what people thought of me.
Right.
And the older I'm getting, now I have a son on the way. I'm like, I got to be a lot more transparent about my feelings and like what I'm really fucking thinking, as opposed to just like, oh no, I don't give a shit about anything. But segueing though, so. You know, one of the things that I think is so interesting, I was telling John 2 over here, before number 2, no, okay, but before
call him
John Do, but I'm 3, I guess. So, but one of the things that you know is super interesting. We always get asked this from our fans is like, you know, working with family's tough, right? And so we have, you know, your sisters here, you know, you guys are obviously working together, and for me, like I have my family working at adapting, right? So like I have my cousin that works for me, my brother works for me, one of my brothers is an intern. Good. You know, my mom at some points worked for me. And so like one of the things that I always get asked is like, so like how do you guys draw this line of family dynamic and also not bleeding it into like, all right, we're at the dinner table, John, did you get that deal done? What happened? You know?
I don't know that we do that well. That's one thing we probably don't.
Yeah, no, but I think I just want to gain some perspective, right? So like, how do you guys manage it?
Well, honestly,
start with you.
Yeah, not that well, considering. I think because we live in the same house and we work in our house.
Right.
It's almost.
Get some behind the scenes content. Yeah, cool.
It's almost impossible to do because the bleeding in is literally if we had an argument or a conversation here.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later we're up to go eat dinner. It's hard to just turn it on and off. But
totally.
I think the best thing about us and dealing with family, because there are downsides and things can go wrong, but the upsides is that it's very transparent what's wrong.
Right.
Like when we have an argument or something isn't right, we hash it out, and in 5 minutes we could storm out of the house. But we know at the end of the day, we got to come back and get things done. So I've never been this honest with any of my business partners ever, because you're always worried about how they're gonna feel after it, or if they're gonna leave.
You're worried.
There's no built-in trust like you have with a family member. So whether it's my sister or my dad, right? Even if it's a conversation with my mom about the business, it's open. It can get rough sometimes, but again, once we hash it out, we get things moving pretty quick.
And I think the one thing I just want to say for people out there that's watching, even not related to family, it's super important that you allow to have intellectual discord, right? It's totally fine to argue. Like there's nothing wrong. I think the world we live in, it's like, oh, like they're arguing. Like, you know, that's totally okay. And one of the people I forgot to mention is my wife, is my CFO. She's gonna kick my ass for forgetting that again. Second time I forgot that.
Yeah. Edit. Make sure you edit.
Yeah, edit that one out.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about my family. My wife is my CFO, first and foremost.
Right, first and foremost.
Then you can talk about.
But I think to your point though, I think one of the things that I learned from her, right, because her family, like I said to you earlier, has businesses, and they all work together and stuff like that. And I think that like, you know, arguing's okay. Like, what's wrong with arguing? Like, if you're both being real, what's the problem?
Exactly.
So what's your take on this?
Well, no, he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to separate the two. We're here. We all live here.
Right.
So no one's going anywhere.
Right.
No one, first of all, runs away.
Right.
In this family, which is something that I'm proud of because we take it head on.
Yeah.
And it does get to a point where you forget at the dinner table, especially. You know, my wife is really good at reminding us, don't talk about it at the dinner table.
Yep.
And she's 1,000% right.
Right.
But the other side is I don't see him all day.
Right. This is the time you get to see him.
And then he's sitting down and we're eating, and it's a chance to just, hey, did you follow up with? Do you remember this? I got an email from. This is such a fast-moving trajectory for us.
Right.
And we're lucky, knock on wood, that we're in this position. There's a lot of opportunities. They come at us every day, and some are so big, you're like, wow, let's not get too excited because let's be real, because it's that big, but we're going to not pass over this.
Right.
You know, you want to do this.
Right.
So, okay, we're doing it, right? We're not going to pass this over to go have the time we're spending here to go work on something else that might be, you know, in our, you know, vision bigger.
Right.
We're just trying to get it all in, all done, and balance it out. And so, back to again, when it's under one roof, it's hard to separate time.
It is.
Yeah.
So The only thing I can say to you guys. So me and my wife have been working together for now. I think it's been like 6 years. What we do, because obviously now, so eventually, you know, you're going to Hoboken soon, right, or Jersey City or something like that. Yeah. So.
Oh, when are you going?
He acted like it was a joke when I told him.
Yeah, I still don't believe it. There's no way.
Seriously, wait, you're leaving? I was
No,
like, I can't live here
I don't
forever.
believe it.
No,
You know why? You listen. You know
wanna
this.
see the
When you
lease?
come home, there's not gonna be food. There's not gonna be food ready. Oh no, this is gonna be great. I can't wait. By the way, I know my first TikTok I'm doing myself when he has his own place.
I can't wait to watch
you guys, this is gonna
be
really
amazing.
epic.
When I walked in, I was like, dude, where are you going? What do you mean? What are you doing? I'm jumping in the lake after this. But with that being said, though, so with my wife, you know, like obviously forever, you know, she's the biggest blessing I've ever had. But I wake up next to her, you know, and I have dinner with her, I do everything with her, right? So one of the things that we did, because she's like she thinks what you think, right? So like if we're at the dinner table, she'll actually bring stuff up, and she'll be like, well, I haven't seen you all day. You're on the road. You're doing this. You're doing that. So what we did was. What we're working on, right? So it's a work in progress. Sure. But we allocate time in the calendar every day, in the morning and at night, right? Yeah, we give ourselves half hour in the morning and at night. Great. We talk about everything we need to talk about. Yep. And then we try, keyword try, not to communicate when we're like having dinner or when we're like about to go to bed, you know, because there would be times where I'd wake up and she'd be like, "Hey, did you do that one thing?" And I'm like, "Don't do this right now. Right. I'm just waking up. Don't do this right now." So I think it's good and it's healthy to have those boundaries. Yep. So her and I have been doing it, but anyway, for family people, we're testing it out still. We're only like a month in.
But it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I mean, how often then? You know, if you don't do that in the morning and in the evening, how often then do you sit down with everybody and do a formal meeting? Like, you know, when do you know, it's important to carve out that time. Right. And let everybody, like I say to him all the time, I need to get what's in your head somewhere out. Yeah. Because you know, you may think you told me, and vice versa, and I need to get it out of my head. Right. And so we're getting better at that too. That's taking this, which was a casual kind of fun thing, and now turning it into, oh wow, it's a business. Monetize it. Now it's a business. So now you have to have specific times and windows and calendars and agendas, I think, to so you don't miss anything. You don't make mistakes. Right. Or you don't make you make less mistakes. So this is what I'm curious about for you. So how is it like, I'm sure at this point you're used to it though, but like, is it weird that like people are like bragging about your dad? Like most people, like their parents, like they don't even know their parents exist. Like nobody talks to their parents. Right? Is it weird for you? Like people are always like like your dad's cool as shit. Like one of my partners in Commodities, he literally like he's obsessed with you. Like literally, he's like, dude, should have brought him. I know. I told him. What's his name? He had something going on. Dylan. Dylan, yeah. Dylan, come over. Yeah, Dylan. This is live. We're gonna FaceTime him before I leave. We're gonna FaceTime him. Let's FaceTime Dylan. But so like it's like that, right? It's almost like and also like you'll see like I had this one client who's a pretty big real estate agent, and her daughter's pretty young, and and she's very like promiscuous, right? Like, and she's very like like she knows that like sex appeal sells, right? So like she really utilized that in her marketing efforts. So like the one time her daughter was over there, you could tell like we were filming, we were doing stuff, and she was like, oh my god, like so in the beginning, like how did this journey feel for you though, as like everyone started to know your dad, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my god, your dad's fucking awesome, like your dad's great, I want your dad to be my dad. Like how does this feel for you? Well, it was definitely a learning curve for me, because what happens is like, again, people see the character that we've created of Johnny Drinks, and it's not too far from who he is. I've always known the special relationship we've had, right? Yeah. And who he is as a person. Yeah. But when when somebody shoves something down your throat so much, almost to the point of like berating me now because how great my dad is. Yeah. Like, you better appreciate that, and you don't deserve it, like type of thing. And in my mind, I'm like, well, he's great. He's not that great. He's not perfect. Right? There are far from it. There are things that he does wrong. Well, you live with him. You know him outside the camera. And I see the other side, right? I've seen parts of him that aren't necessarily perfect, and he's seen my side. Right. So in the beginning, I would almost like go out of my way sometimes to be like, well, wait, I got to show people that he's not always perfect. But then I quickly caught myself, and I was like, what am I doing? Right. Like we built a brand out of Johnny Drinks, the Renaissance Man. Why would I now go sabotage myself and be, hey, look, guys, he's not always perfect. Right. Let me catch him yelling at me. Right, that's never what I want. Nowadays, I've learned to take it, appreciate, because I do really appreciate it. People are now genuinely saying,
you know, not only do I love your dad, he's a great guy, I love the relationship you guys have, because they're identifying, like, does take two to tango. Like, having a great dad comes when your son's not an asshole. If I was a piece of shit son who did whatever he wanted to do and disrespected him, this wouldn't work. So I think I did a pretty good job growing up.
Totally.
Respecting who he was and appreciating not only his flaws, but what he was really good at. And now, because I'm a man at 26, I know where we're a little bit different, but where he is light years ahead of me from experience or just because we're different people. So it definitely is a learning curve. And again, working with a family member or maybe a business partner that shines a little bit more than you do, you got to just know where you're at. You know what I'm saying? And don't ever try to overshine or overstep somebody.
Totally. I love that. That's so well said, dude. So well said.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's just a true testament to, like, obviously, you know, again, how you and your wife, you know, raise your kids and stuff, and also as well as you just being a good person and absorbing what you're learning as you get older. And I always say, like, it's funny because, like, growing up, like, my parents are not really entrepreneurial at all. You know, they're 9-to-5ers. You know. And growing up, I remember, like, all my buddies and all my friends were, like, getting X, doing this, doing whatever. And, like, you know, I always grew up with, like, friends who were kind of like you, like, good at advice. Like, you know, if I was at their house, their dad would give me advice. My parents weren't really like that. But as I got older, I realized how it actually worked to my advantage, you know, doing that, right? Like, having, you know, you don't realize that the cards you're dealt are dealt for you, not against you. So I love what you said there, and I think one of the biggest things I have to always teach my siblings, you know, I'm a very open book. Me and my dad, we didn't always see eye to eye growing up, you know, and so I had to step up, you know, I'm the oldest of 5, so I had to step up early and be like a father figure to my siblings since from the time I was like 11 to 12. And so for me, one of the biggest things that I learned hearing what you're saying is, like, my siblings sometimes they'll, like, bump heads with my mom, and they'll be like, oh, she's so annoying, and I'm like, listen, I'm like, but guess what? When you accept who she is, you'll stop thinking she's annoying, and you'll realize the value she's bringing to you every fucking day of your life. So it's a difference. So I love what you said was acceptance, right? Which is the important part.
Who they are. It's like Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby and Cal. And Cal's like, hey, maybe I can win one time. And he's like, then I can't win.
What a great reference.
He's like, I've had times where I'm like, hey, maybe I can do the review today. So, no.
You're Cal.
But you gotta understand.
That was fire. I love that.
So much worse if I was the son trying to overstep my dad. Like, that would never work in any setting. So I take a step back respectfully, and I don't care. Like, that's my dad. If I'm gonna take a step back from anybody, it's gonna be him.
Right.
You know. So we've accepted our roles, and we just go with it.
So I want to pause for a second. So you belligerently dropped your drink. This guy's wasted right now.
I'm hammered.
No, I'm kidding. But so you're testing it. You finish it. Do you like it or do you not like it?
I didn't want to cut you off, but they might have caught it. I sipped this thing. This is maybe the best tequila seltzer I've ever had.
Really?
Most tequila seltzers suck.
I'm not tasting it.
Bold.
Until we
do you want to try it?
I want to try that. Let me try this. Let me try that one. That's tequila also?
Spicy ginger.
Let me try this one. What is this? This is tequila.
This is sake.
Oh, sake.
Yeah, it's very good.
Wait, you can't try this.
Oh.
You're not allowed to. We have to do a video for that.
Okay.
We have to do a video. We have to review this.
I don't understand.
So you can't try this yet.
There you go.
Unless we air this thing after our video.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, just so you know, this will not be out for another 3 weeks.
No, it's all right. Well,
Either way,
we're going to do it right. We're going to do it.
No worries.
We are back to.
But this is a sake and soda, by the way, guys.
Yeah, it's very good. Actually, like it a lot.
Back to you just bring up a good point. The authenticity. Like, I'm not going to go on a TikTok, a review, a YouTube, whatever it is, and taste something unless it's my first time.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I don't want to. For my own sake, I don't want to have a reveal, a precursor to what it might really be like, and then have to judge. I don't want to sip it more than once. So,
right. I respect that. Him and I were talking about that before we started filming, and I was like, dude, honestly, I love that. Like, you'll go on and be like, yeah, I don't like this, or he'll be like, no, it sucks, because I think that nobody wants to see you guys just agree with everybody and think everything is awesome
out there, guys. There's a lot of garbage that you just slap a branding label on because you're a big time player in this industry, and you sell it, and that's cool. People do enjoy them, but I would say it's the higher 90%. If I pick 4 drinks and I give 2 up and 2 down, when I'm done, I let them taste it, meaning my son and my daughter, and maybe someone else who's around, and we're always pretty close.
Right.
Like, it's very. The other day we did one. I think was I forget what it was, but my daughter liked one that I didn't. Okay, so well, that's cool, but I understand that too.
Right.
This is just about for me giving everybody that if you're going to try to spend your money on a 4-pack, 6-pack, 12-pack, whatever it is, I'd like to help you at least increase the odds.
Totally.
Right? So,
right.
If there's 2 thumbs up and one this way, kind of good, well, then you might want to buy that.
Right.
You have a chance.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
So I want to segue into just some of the people you guys have met, right? Over the course of the past, 2 years, whatever it's been. Like I've seen you guys on with Dana White, seen you guys on with Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Like how has it been meeting these people and like now people being like, oh, you guys are, Johnny Drinks, holy shit. How has that been for the both of you?
It's fun, dude. I mean, that's honestly what I want to start doing now because we've identified, obviously, people want to see that stuff.
Yeah.
We want to kind of take you with us to meet these people. Like, again,
which is epic.
Yeah.
Right. Our page has always been very POV style. We're in the room on behalf of the viewers.
Yeah.
But we want to kind of be like, yo, this is awesome for us too. Let us take you with us on this journey. So when we go meet Celebrity X with their liquor and we're trying it with them, you feel like we're not ever going to say like, hey, we're on their level, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're always going to be the excited father and son duo that's just meeting these people.
Yeah.
And that's how we approached Dana White, that's how we approached Kevin Hart, and then that's how we're going to keep approaching these people.
I literally went ballistic. I'm such a fan of the virtual boxing game. I saw you talk to Dana about.
Great.
Dude, how insane is the workout though with those things?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't do a workout. I got knocked out.
Thing,
I got knocked out in the virtual thing, and I was like, you know what?
You're like, I'm done with this.
But that was real time. Like that's just how that happened. He's talking about it, and then I said, "Look at this video." And looking at it, he laughed his ass off because it was hilarious. Because I really thought like someone hit me in the face.
But so how's it been for you though, in terms of meeting people like that, like and people knowing who you guys are and?
Yeah, well, you know what? First of all, it's a treat, right? It's a gift to be able to, I think, meet anybody. Like meeting you. This is cool.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So you're not notable like Kevin Hart or Dana White.
Right.
But I would say the journey to getting there is probably as exciting as when we have the moment. The challenge with the moment is we don't know who's going to show up. We don't know what guy's going to show up, right? I think Kevin Hart is hilarious. I think he's probably one of the, and we said it in one of our previous videos that I said, I want to make a drink for Kevin Hart and The Rock. And sure as that happened.
Right.
That was not orchestrated.
Right.
Like we didn't know or think that it was
You just
gonna
spoke
happen.
it into
I
reality.
just threw it out to the universe.
Right.
But,
Thoughts
we were
become
just talking.
things. Thoughts become things.
Yeah. Thoughts become words. Words become actions. Action is everything.
Yeah.
But with that being said, so, Kevin Hart is the guy that I thought he was going to be from his interviews and from his interaction with The Rock and likewise.
Down to earth.
He was cool.
Yeah, he was.
He spent a lot of time with everybody. He walked in that room and he said hello to everybody. He basically said, listen, don't worry about getting time with me or coming to me. I'm going to come to you.
Oh, that's
and he
awesome.
went from one person to right to
Wow.
the next. And everyone was just hanging out doing their thing. And then when I made him a cocktail, he was genuinely, I think, interested in not only me making it, but he enjoyed it.
Right.
And Dana White is probably the best story. He walked in the room like we set up here today. Cameras, mic, boom, boom. I'm ready to go. I have everything go. He walks in the room, sucks the air out of the room. like it was like, oh boy, this is. I look at him, because we're up here. Like this is gonna be awesome. It's epic. And then he sucks the air out of the room. I'm like, okay, this is not good. This ain't good. But in my own way of preparing, I was ready for whatever was going to come.
Right.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Right.
And I'm a grown man. I'm 56 years old.
Right.
You have more, bigger, stronger, faster, smarter. Whoever that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to being comfortable. Goes back to being comfortable with who you are. I know why I'm there. I'm just there to have fun, make a couple cocktails, and see how it goes. Well, he, to his credit, he apologized and said, listen, I got a lot going on. Got a fight coming up.
Yeah.
I had a situation that pulled me into a completely different direction, and it was unfortunate what happened.
Yeah.
But he at least once he explained it and I made him his first cocktail, then it was like he was our buddy.
Limbered up.
You guys want to come? I'll show you around. We're like, sure. We went through. Right? How cool was that?
It looked so epic.
But that's how it happened. Again, that was not scripted. That was not laid out by anyone for them to say, okay, then Dana's going to walk you here, and Dana's going to take you to the kitchen, and Dana's going to... No. We were ready to, like, kind of leave. And we hung out for about another, hour at least.
Right.
And I finally said to Dana, I said, listen, you must be... You got to go.
We got to get out of your hair.
We'll stay here and talk all day with you, but I appreciate it. He's like, no, this is good. This is cool. You guys are cool. And so, we're going to end up doing more stuff with them, I think,
that's
in large part just to his credit, because he sees what a lot of people see.
Right.
We're not pretending. We're not anything other than a father and son who bring some value and some maybe some other entertainment to people. Yeah.
It's go ahead.
No, he's just a special dude, and like he was the first person to really show me it's okay to appreciate what you have and acknowledge that it's really fucking cool. Like,
yeah.
The analogy I give is like, if you were to hand me $500 million, that's how I would approach sharing what I had with you.
Right.
He was not showing off in any sense of the word, but he was so excited to show me, check this thing out. This is a samurai sword that so-and-so, and the most expensive, whatever. I was like,
so cool.
What am I doing? And then, then he blasted his Macintosh speakers and put Metallica on. Like, he was just like rocking out. And
dude,
that's
incredible.
It was so cool, man. Yeah, he was, and so it showed me like, look, I have, because of what we're doing right now, I'm living a life that is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to do stuff like that.
Right.
And you can't, like, being humble is great, but being humble to a fault, like, you don't want to be that dude, too.
No.
That when somebody says to you, yo, what you're doing is awesome, you're kind of like, whatever, it's not that cool. Like, shut up.
Right.
It is cool. Like, go and experience that, appreciate that with other people, too.
Dude, I love that. And you were going to add to that, I think.
Well, what I was going to add to is just the Metallica. He played Metallica, and he prefaced by saying, my friend Tom Cruise told me I got to buy this. I'm like, of course he did. Of course he said Tom Cruise. But he wasn't saying it. He wasn't saying it to drop his name. Of course. I'm like,
it's like actually his buddy.
Yes, Tom Cruise is your friend. Of course he is.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool. And one thing I just want to add to that, and I think everybody listening here needs to really digest this and unpack it wherever you are. I don't care if you're at a gym or whatever. You need to stop and take a note here on what you just said. It was priceless, Johnny Dos. But one of the things, though, that I think about, though, because I struggled with this. So, like, I grew up, like, in a very poor household. Right? Like, my parents, like, I love my parents to death. Would do anything for my parents. They're the most amazing people. But like we grew up where it was like, again, like sometimes, right? It was like, hey, listen, for Christmas, we got to make sure we get the siblings taken care of. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Like, don't get me anything. We're good. Like that type of shit, right? And so growing up, and as I started to make some moves, and because I started the business to help my family, they were about to lose the house. That's why at 17, my dad told me that. I was like, what can I do? And he's like, nothing. I was like, but that was his limiting beliefs as not being an entrepreneur, thinking bigger. So I started Googling shit, and that's how I started to build websites, do marketing, whatever, right?
Great.
The point being is, as I started to actually scale the business and do a little bit better for myself, and not be in the position where I never had money. I was always the friend that like didn't have money. Like, oh, we're going here. I can't do it. I can't go. Right. And I heard this. I forget where the hell I heard this. I don't know if I heard this on a podcast or somebody said it to me, but it was so powerful based off what you just said, which was you holding back like the graces that have been given to you, whether it's through hard work or just a blessing, is actually could be holding somebody back from being inspired enough to go do something because they want to do that. Yeah, and once I heard that, I was like, holy shit, like that's so cool. Like I used to not want to say, oh, I'm going to do XYZ with certain people, my friends or even family, because I was like, I don't want to make them feel bad about themselves. Right. But in all reality, am I not pushing, like, am I actually doing them a disservice because I'm not giving them the window to think bigger? Yep. Right? That they could do that. Like you said it before with filming, right? Like anybody can do anything if they want to do it and they have the right patience and energy towards it, right? So anybody that's listening, I just want to throw that out there because I think a lot of times we feel like we shouldn't do something because it's either braggadocious, dickhead, or like it's like, okay, well I feel bad because that person genuinely can't do that, but that's not on you. No, and you shouldn't feel. It's interesting because the body doesn't go where the mind hasn't been. Mm-hmm. Powerful. If you're envisioning, I love that. I really actually love that. Sorry, continue. So my point of mentioning it that way is
You dream about financial independence. You dream about having a family. You dream about becoming something to help your family, whatever it is. All right, so you've got to get your mind there.
Yeah.
And how do you quantify it unless someone else says, well, here, look, this is what you can make.
Yeah.
So I come from a sales background.
Yeah.
And what motivates salespeople? 2 things: debt and commission. So salespeople need to have debt.
Right.
That's the motivation to get out of the debt.
Correct.
And to make the money.
Right.
They're interchanging. So, you know, when someone showed me many years ago that a commission check, right, in the mortgage world, mortgage financing, this is how I got into it. He said, look at this is what I make. I'm like, what? How? Well, how are you making that?
Right.
And he's my buddy. I'm like, he laughed. He goes, exactly. He goes, if I could do it, imagine what you could do.
Right.
I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not a salesperson.
Well, no, I was a salesperson. But
at that time,
I was working for a Colgate Palmolive. I had a great job out of college, but it was a carved out spot. This is how much you make.
Right.
You get a 2% increase, 3% maybe, cost of living over years. This is what you get. That's it.
Yeah.
The roadmap was, if I wanted to stay right there, I could tell you what I was going to make in 10 years because it was on the matrix.
Yep.
That's it.
Right.
This was a different sales. This was commission.
Right.
And so the point is, he wasn't bragging.
Right.
He was sharing.
Well, he was giving you an opportunity.
And with that, he gave me an opportunity.
Yeah.
And people should be proud. You should never be ashamed or embarrassed when you've earned something.
Mm-hmm.
You've earned it. You know who your friends are. You can talk about it.
Totally.
And if my friends, my very dear friends, say to me, how much did you make last year?
Mm-hmm.
What did you make? How'd you buy that car? How'd you buy the house? I'll tell them.
Yeah.
I'm not bragging.
Yeah.
You asked the question.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Here's the answer.
Now, if you hate on that, if you hate on it,
right.
well, guess what? We're not going to have that conversation.
Right. Then we're done.
If you throw it up in my face in front of other people, not appropriately, then we're going to have a separate conversation.
Right.
Because I'm not bringing around my paychecks to show everybody.
Right.
You know, so I think again, you're right. I think again, that's always a healthy place from which to start.
Right.
You know the possibilities. You know what you can accomplish because you see someone else do it, or you're around someone else that says, "Yeah, come with me. Come with me. Just follow me. We're going to go up that mountain."
I had this great visualization of you, like somebody, because like, you know, the one time that, because like there are friends that I have that I can share with, right? Because they're business owners or they're salespeople.
And they get it.
And that's why I love sales, right? Because you know, again, you can keep driving. But what you said actually happened to me in a completely inappropriate setting where I was at a party.
I was going to say, you had to be out
someone's
at a
like,
bar or party.
John, come here. You know, tell them XYZ. And I was like, dude, what?
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely not. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like, don't even know these people.
Right.
But anyway, segueing off, as we get towards the end here, so we're about to get close to the deep part. Like fucking deep.
This is deep?
2 deep questions about to happen here.
There's a deep
There's a deep end. So I'm gonna shuffle it. So because there's a medium hard, and then there's like the intense one, right? So I'm gonna shuffle it where I'm gonna have you start with the medium one, and then I'm gonna have you start with the hard one.
Okay.
And then we'll shuffle back so that you each kind of get, you know.
Sure.
I don't want you to be able to, you know.
We're not too deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, we'll do the best we can here, okay? So I'll start with the deep one. So I'm sorry, medium deep.
Medium.
So all right. So has there been over the years? Obviously, you've been in entrepreneurship. You know, throughout college, you started. You know, did what you did. Has there been any quotes that or adages that have popped up for you that you're like, yo, I fuck with that when as it relates to like hard work and things not always going your way or whatever?
Oh man.
Live, laugh, Lake.
So, yeah. I forget. I'm gonna botch the actual. There's a you know Andy Frisella?
Yeah.
So he did a podcast with his mentor. I forget the guy's name. I'm drawing a blank. Tim Grover, I think it was.
Okay.
And the podcast title was something along the lines of like, "Fun isn't as fun as you may think it is," type of thing. So like, I think it was above the lines of like, the short-term fun that you're having is really not worth it compared to working hard to then achieve like the greater purpose of what you think fun would be.
Right.
So like me as a man, going out every weekend.
Right.
That's not as fun as honing into your craft to then really build something special.
Right.
And I think a lot of kids especially right now because of like social media, are so in on how can I make quick buck so that I can show it off for the weekend, and they go right back to doing it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So then Friday comes up, I can do the same damn thing over and over again.
Right.
It's like you got to stay so focused in on what you're doing. You can't really think about that stuff.
Right.
And the best part about that is then when you go out finally, you don't have to think about it, and then you can go experience the fun that you thought you were going to have, and it's going to be a lot sweeter that time. So I guess it's all just about like really enjoy the ups and downs of what you're doing, because the greater purpose is going to be that much sweeter than what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I love that. So I like to ask this question because when I was first starting, again, I didn't have any mentors around me. I didn't know anybody. I had my virtual mentors, Steve Jobs and Tony Robbins. So I just love following their journeys and looking at what they did and stuff. And so I found this quote. I was like, I want to find something that, I could wake up every morning. I actually had it taped to the top of my ceiling in my bed at my parents' house.
Before you say the quote, who is it? Who?
So it's by Unknown.
Oh.
So which was even crazier. So I started Googling quotes. I'm like, what's going to pop? And this one quote, I to this day still have it. So I had it pasted, I had it taped to my ceiling. I had it in my bathroom next to my toothbrush. So I would look at this thing, I'm like, I got to see this thing. But it was, live a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. And so what I got out of that, right, because when I first started, I'm sales too, I was going door to 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 door.
Yeah.
And I was getting rejected fucking every day, like regularly. And as a 17-year-old kid that is looking to help his family, I didn't have a choice. I was like, I need somebody to fucking say yes. Because if they don't, where are my siblings gonna go? That's what I was concerned about, But so going back to it, like that's, for me, I was like to know if like, for entrepreneurs, like what it is for them that really resonates. So I appreciated that one, I like it. For you now, we're gonna go deep.
Deep.
And then we're gonna shuffle back. So, all right, so this for me, I like to look at legacy a lot, right? So a lot of times when you ask somebody about legacy, what they plan to do while they're on this earth, they're looking at from where their feet are right now, onward, right? Typically, I like to reverse engineer it, right? So I like to look at it like it's already been done, and we're looking backwards.
Sure.
So there's only one thing on this planet that will outlive, your kids, their kids, their kids, and it's your gravestone.
Right.
Right. So if you were to write that today, what would that say? What would that read on it?
So what would it say on it about me in form of my legacy, right?
Yep. And keep in mind, let's say it in the tone of like the way that it's written typically. So, John was a loving father, but whatever else.
Well, I feel like now you want me to write my obituary.
No.
That's a little creepy.
Less than a sentence, obviously, because it's on a stone.
So, wow, this is on a stone now. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to give you a short, and you can put it in a context. But,
okay.
A few of the things I'm most proud of is my commitment, my consistency, my loyalty, my relationships, and mind you, they're not 100% perfect. They're not, and so it's this today. It's the authenticity of this is who we are today. Love us, live with us, grow with us.
Right.
Today is for us. Tomorrow is for my family.
Yeah.
Right. Those are some things that I would say, okay, you could put that on anything you want, any wall, any place. It's cool. I'm good with it. But as you talk about, that is a deep dive, and it's always moving and changing, I think, too.
It is.
Because, if you asked me this 2 years ago before this.
Different.
I don't have this vantage point.
Yeah.
And so who knows what the next 2 years is going to bring.
Yeah.
And so, I often think, I listened to Tony Robbins as a young person. He changed and he pivoted my thinking.
Yeah.
I could say he changed my life.
Yeah.
And he's another guy that if I had the opportunity to meet with, I'd love it.
Yeah.
I think Tony might be a little too now just commercialized.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's fair to say. I don't mean any insults by it, but he's so just iconic and out there. I don't know that he would sit down with a guy like me and just shoot the crap.
Right.
But maybe, who knows? I'll make a
Listen,
cocktail.
thoughts become things.
I'll make a cocktail.
Thoughts become things.
I'll make a cocktail,
Yeah.
Tony.
Make it Tony Robbins.
I'll make a cocktail, Tony.
He doesn't
Make
drink.
a
He
good
doesn't
one.
drink any.
And a mocktail, Tony.
A mocktail.
Make a mocktail. But again, he was very instrumental too in just changing and pivoting the thought process a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. and live the day with passion.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
If you're gonna do it, why the
Live.
fuck not actually do it?
Right. Sorry, the dog.
Oh, you're good.
That's part of the living in the house.
Authenticity, right?
Yeah, that's part of living in the house. And,
Dogs are on the podcast too.
but so again, there's so many different directions and ways to pull from things like that. But I think about the mentor thing and the influences that people have on one another. And to your point of this deep dive reflection, 2 years from now, we're going to be looking back at this saying, well, gee, we didn't realize what we were embarking on, and there's going to be something else, another vantage point.
And he's not going to be in Hoboken then.
He's
Right across the way.
I just kidding.
I don't know. I hope he's in someplace.
You should, dude. This lake's sick.
I know. I hope he's in someplace really
wait,
warm.
just wait.
I hope you're someplace warm in the winter so I can come see you.
I'll be next to you. You realize that?
Well, maybe I'll come with you. I don't know. Maybe mom and I will relocate. I don't know. But so yeah, there's a lot of things to that end.
But I appreciate you practicing that or demonstrating that in this exercise. I mean, listen, it's a. I've actually had when I was in Miami, I had a hedge fund owner in Miami actually start crying, talking about it, thinking about his kids and stuff, and going through the different things in his life. Super passionate dude, but it's deep, right? Like I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you're like, what are people going to remember you by, right? So in 100 years, they go to your gravestone, that's the only thing they're going to know, right? Because typically, right now, you can't talk about somebody 100 years ago and how they were, right. But if you don't see the stone, I mean, you kind of get an idea.
Yeah, it's definitely a monument for a reason, and it's
right.
Going to capture hopefully something of each person. But you know what? Yeah, when you pass on, most people don't care.
Right.
They care for the moment, and they feel your
they move
loss,
on.
and they have empathy,
Yeah.
and they want to see your family hopefully do well without you. But
Right.
life moves on, and that's again another thing that you should not be embarrassed about. Yeah,
Right.
move on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Whether it's something near and dear and close to you, person, or someone you just kind of like, wow, I can't believe I don't see that guy anymore at the gym.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It is, and that's where you celebrate people who have passed on.
Yeah.
You talk about them, laugh about them, bring up their name.
Right.
In some form.
Honor them.
Yeah, respect them that way.
Right.
That's the best way of, I think, truly carving out that legacy. Because if people talk about me long after, all right, cool.
Yeah.
That means I left some impression on them.
Right. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to ask you now the mild one. So has there been any quotes or adages, or even if it's a John original?
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to tell you, but that quote you read earlier is mine.
You're the one that said it.
You're gonna have to change it. You're gonna have to change it on the.
I love that.
So I have so many that flood my brain when you ask for a quote.
Yeah.
Ever since you said that, and John knows, when preparation meets opportunity, what happens? Success occurs.
Yeah.
I love that. I never will forget the guy who told it to me and said it and where I was.
Yeah.
I was in a room. No, wait a second. I was in a.
I'll never forget it.
I was in a garage. No, wait, time out. I know exactly where I was and who said it. The other couple of things that come into my head is lead, follow, or get out of the way. Pretty simple. Pick a road. Which one you want to do.
that.
You can't do all three at the same time.
No.
And as a person, I'm a leader. You're a leader. You're a leader. We're driver, 8 personalities.
Yeah.
There's times where you're gonna have to follow, and there's other times where you don't want to follow. Then just
get out the way.
Just step aside.
I love that.
Just okay. And then probably the most profound mantra. Well, there's another one. Do right and fear no man, which he has on his chest, which is not mine. It's from Del Fresco's in the city.
Boom.
But that's now the fact he puts that on his body, like, oh my gosh, it goes deeper.
Right.
So it's more than just my sentiment and my comfort.
Right.
It now becomes his.
Yeah.
Forever.
Right.
Right. And I didn't ask. He just surprised me with that on Father's Day.
Yeah.
So. But
do you have tattoos?
No.
Okay. Can't put a bumper sticker on a Ferrari.
That's exactly. And
I'm a Tesla. We're Audis and Tesla.
I just never, all my buddies, I just could never commit to the one thing.
You get one. It's like,
Yeah.
I was gonna put it. Thank God I didn't do it. I was gonna put a baseball on my ankle with my number in college.
You had a story.
Yeah, but then I got to stand the rest of my life with my number on it. Like,
about it.
Right.
No, it's all right. I'm glad I didn't do it. Anyway, so what I would say is probably top one or two statements or mantras is my college baseball coach said it to me. He said, "What you can do is limited. What you can accomplish through others is limitless." So what I can do is limited. What I can accomplish through others is limitless.
Wow.
You align yourself with the right people. You embrace. You grow. Great. And he was so right. And I remember when I was trying to, again, at the time, he was my coach.
Yeah.
I was the captain of the team. I said, yeah, okay, I got to do this. Now I got it.
Right.
Now I got a purpose outside of just being a cheerleader with them.
Right.
I have to start bringing other guys in and having that conversation. Hey, next time we do calisthenics and so-and-so is checked out.
Right.
How about you go up to him and you give him a little kick versus me all the time?
Wow.
Right. So that was priceless.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's really cool. And that's what. Did you ever coach for his teams or anything?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I really want to do that. Like that was one thing I would say.
No, don't.
Don't?
That was almost. No,
That was the end of the road for you?
Listen, just tell him how old we. No, not the whole story. Just tell him.
Give me a brief.
You came home.
We yeah.
Wait, what sport are we talking about here?
I was playing football. I was like 8 years old or something. And I guess I messed up on the field.
Right.
And the reaction from him as the coach and dad wasn't how you would treat
No
any other
way.
kid on the team.
Right.
And so I went home and I was just shook for the entire night. I was in my room. My mom walked in, was like, "What's wrong?" And I told her what happened on the field.
I got
he was
fired.
out. He was out with his friends. So you have to come home right now. You're not coaching that kid ever again.
Yeah, and I came home and I got fired.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, if I affected him this way, I don't want to do it again. And he was 8. So I
Ooh.
was like, never coached again.
Right.
And so I always put myself in a position to support
Right.
and be, I ran the football program,
Right.
which was probably my penalty because having to run and manage now other overzealous fathers and parents. I was like, oh boy, I know that. I know it's an emotional thing. Youth sports is crazy over the top.
Right.
And, I raised him through sports very different than my other son.
Right.
And
Older or younger?
younger.
Okay.
And they both turned out great. Both turned out level-wise very different.
Right.
But, again, so that was not one of my favorite moments, but it's one that you can't hide. You can't
Good lesson,
not
though.
forget. Yeah, lesson for both of us.
Got to learn.
Yeah.
So going into the last question, what piece of advice would you give to me becoming a parent?
Well, I think I gave you one small piece, which is find that common thread.
Which was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, find it.
Yeah.
It'll come. It'll come to you.
Yeah.
And then we'll backing up because that's going to take a while before the personality
develops.
Do you know what you're having?
A boy.
Okay, so before your congratulations.
And real quick.
You said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
John, I'm sorry.
And real quick though, so we weren't supposed to find out. Did not want to know. Wanted to because I've been in the tech industry and marketing for so long in my life, most of my life, that I was like, we have these information devices always on us. So I was like, I don't want to know this one. I want to be surprised in the moment. I want to you can't replace that feeling. Right. So I got my wife on board. Boom, here we go. Now she's 5 months. We go for the anatomy scan. We're telling everybody we don't want to know.
Yeah.
Don't tell us.
Right.
So they're like, no problem. So every time, look that way, look that way. So finally, I'm sitting there, and we were there for 2 hours because Johnny wasn't cooperating. Right, another Johnny wasn't cooperating. So I wasn't turning. So we're there for 2 hours, and then at the last second, my wife goes, "How heavy, is the baby?" So the nurse goes, "Oh, let me check." Pops open a chart, right? No. I see all the things on there, right? The weight, whatever, and then I see female. So we go home. I'm quiet on the way home, and she's like, "What's wrong? Why are you being so quiet? You've been excited for all these things. You're like jacked up." So I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just like thinking whatever. This is like real." In my head, I'm like, "I fucking know." So we get home. I prop up the camera, my phone on the fireplace, I click record. I sit her down. I'm like, I gotta tell you something. She's like, what? I'm like, I found out what we're having. And she's like, no. I'm like, you asked the question. I fucking saw it. And she's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I know what it is. She's like, what is it? And I'm like, it's a girl. And she's like, oh my God. So we start crying, because it took us 3 years to have our first kid.
Oh, wow.
So we're like, we're crying, like, oh my God. So my sister at the time was just going to leave because she moved to Jersey City. She was living with us for a little bit. And she's like, we took her out to dinner and we're like, we're having a girl. So we're all sitting there crying again at dinner. I can't believe it. Oh my God. We're having Vienna. And then before you know it, my sister goes, she was a nurse. She goes, are you sure you didn't read her chart? And I was like, no.
It was her chart.
So yeah, so I go no.
Your wife is a female.
My wife is a female.
I get it.
So, but what the things in my head I was battling. That's why I was quiet the whole way home.
Wow.
Because I said to myself, I was like, why would
That's crazy.
There's no way it would say male because a guy can't have a fucking kid.
Oh,
so why would it say female? And it was the chart of the kid that she pulled up.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so I surprised her. We were crying, whatever. So the next day I come home. I'm like, did the doctor call you? She's like, yeah. She's like, it's a girl. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, it's a girl. She's like, I want to, but I'm really like excited. Like I feel really like emotional. You surprised me. I was blindsided. I wrote a letter to Vienna. I want you to read it. So she recorded me. I know she was recording me. She's like, I'm gonna start recording. Like I want you to read this. And I'm like, Jack, I have a 3rd grade reading level. This is not. It's not going to be a good thing. I don't want a kid to know this. So anyway, so I start reading it, and it's a pink envelope, and it says to my husband. And I'm like, the fuck? And I open it, and it says, you were wrong. It's a boy. So I was like, oh my God. But anyway, I'm sorry. That was a long, drastic thing.
No,
but like that was so for a full almost 13 hours. I thought that I was having a girl.
Wow.
That's
so
everything
funny.
ran through my head. Yeah, I'm happy for anything, right? But like at the end of the day, I was already thinking like, all right, I'm going to jail. I'm gonna beat up anybody looking at my daughter. The whole thing.
So let me ask you, why did you prop your camera up and video that conversation?
Because I wanted her reaction to her knowing she's having a girl.
And what were you gonna do with it? You're
just saving it for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just internal.
No, I'm just
shit.
curious. No, I'm not, because I said I videoed on the way to the hospital.
Right,
so I'm
right.
just asking, is that what you're documenting? That whole journey, which is cool.
Yeah,
All right. So you asked that question, and just so we don't forget, because I want to answer it. Two things. One, I told you find that
common thread.
A common thread.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most important things, and you will struggle to do this as a parent. You're going to have in allies and resources her parents and your parents. I don't know if all 4 are alive.
They are.
Okay, good. So you'll be pleasantly surprised how more insightful your mother, her mother, listen to your mother-in-law.
Right.
I mean, listen
Totally.
to your mother-in-law. It's going to be harder.
Right.
But you know what? They know. So parents who have experience, are going to know mothers of the parents know more than doctors. My wife, she doesn't know a lot of the scientific stuff.
Medical
guess
shit.
what? They'll come close. I put a room of seasoned mothers in a room, and you talk about a baby that's having it, they'll come up with it.
They'll
come up with it, and they will figure out everything from a home remedy to what it should be.
Right.
They're so skilled and gifted that it's a shame I see young parents not listening, or at least opening themselves up to trying some of the things that they think, oh, come on, Mom, that's so old. No,
right.
It's tried and true.
It works.
It's tried and true.
Yeah. I love that you said that, because my wife and Jack, when you see this, it's going to be fantastic because she's already on the opposite side of the bandwagon. So we started trying to have kids about 3 years ago. Finally, thank God, are on the way to having one. And so we moved. I lived 1 block from where I grew up. I bought a house on the block with my parents.
Nice.
So her right away, like we knew my mom's a stay-at-home mom. So it was like we have my mom, as like right there if we need her.
Perfect.
Boom.
Yep.
And she's like, I don't want you calling your mom for everything. And I'm like, and I'm a big mama's boy, proud. She's making chicken cutlets. I will drive here home right now. I'll leave this podcast. So but so at the end of the day, I think that's great advice though. I think it's being open, right? And I think that matters. And I appreciate both of those pieces of advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody out there who's going to be a parent or is a parent on the way, listen to my man John. I want to thank you guys so much. I think time is the one asset we don't get back. You spending it here with me today means the world. I've seen you a couple times. Obviously, we do some work together. I really appreciate you both for that too. But where can people find you both? Plug your social, website, everything.
Yeah, just at John, either at John Rondi or Johnny Drinks on every social. You'll find us. So type in one of those. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, and Facebook are the 5 we're on right now.
Boom.
Yeah, that's it.
And you hit your website?
JohnnyDrinks.com.
Boom. You heard it here first. One of the things I like that you said earlier, and I always say this on every podcast, but it's, after we end off here, it's create a great day, right? You're in charge of it. Make it a good one. Like Tony Robbins said, be passionate about it, right? Have a good day. But thank you guys. Take care.